Montrell. We've got a great show today. We've got the biggest news. We got the most news. We've got tons of news. It's wonderful. Xbox had a developer direct today. Old Phil, he didn't even get on the show, but it was a great show. Phil, my great friend Phil Spencer. He was great. It was a great show. How are you?
You know, I don't think you're doing his accent right. I can't do it now. I've been practicing.
No, there's two ways to do it. Okay, there's the sleepy way that I do it, where it's more like, it was a great show. It was awesome. It was wonderful. You know, it was a great. We have a wonderful show today. We have the biggest news. And then there's the more like heightened like speech level Trump when he's like doing like a rally or something where he's like, we have the greatest news. It's wonderful. You know, Kamala lost. Sleepy Joe Biden. I'm replacing Sleepy Joe. You know, it's more like that. So sometimes I go for one, sometimes I go for the other. You know, I don't know, but that's what we got. We got 4 more years of that. So, you know, at least silver linings, right, Montrell?
And it's already starting out great. Okay. I know we said we're going to get political, right? This is not a political thing, though. I don't think this is political.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Did you watch the inauguration?
No, I did not.
Okay.
There's only like 20,000 people watched. It was like nobody cared.
Okay. So did you see? You didn't see at least clips of what Elon Musk did?
No. Oh no. What did he do? Oh no.
I don't have a quick clip put up. I can send it to you. But he was talking. He was really excited, right? And then he said, you know, like, I'm happy for everybody. I'm happy that we got, you know, him in office. And then he put his hand to his chest, and then he extended his arm.
Oh yeah, dude. I did hear about this. I didn't see it actually. I didn't actually see it.
Oh
dude, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta send it to you.
You see, dude, Elon's like, this is dude. There's some of these people, right? Like I put like Tom Brady in this camp too. Elon's in there certainly. Where they're not real people. Like they feel like alien plants. You know, like they don't understand how to be a human or like what humans do, and they're just so weird. It's like Elon, yeah.
Okay, so before I say anything, I sent you the video on your phone. It's only a minute long.
All right.
So guys, you're gonna give him a minute to watch it.
I'm gonna live watch the.
Just watch it.
Oh my god! What the hell, dude? He literally did it. Okay, I hadn't seen it. I heard people talking about it, but oh my god! Wow.
Okay. So, I consider you more center, than me. So your opinions are more a little bit more objective than mine, right? You're independent, I believe, or it doesn't matter what you are.
Yeah,
you're more center than me.
Yeah.
So that being said, what did you see?
I mean, that was definitely a Z-Kyle for sure. 100%. I don't think that was necessarily intentional. This is my point. Elon's weird, right? I think he was excited. He didn't know what the fuck to do. He just wanted to do something hype. I don't think that was intentional. I
can't buy that. I have cousins that have autism, and you know, particularly at what he has. I think he has. I can't pronounce it. I think it's called Asperger's or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
So, but they just don't. They know, like, okay, this is what I think people don't understand about autism. Like, people who have autism are not stupid. So, like, they know what they're doing, right?
Right.
Now, that being said, some things may be involuntary, but that is not like, I don't know. He did it twice. Like, maybe if it was one time, I'm like, okay, cool. But he did it twice. He did it once.
I didn't actually watch the whole thing. Did he do it twice?
He did it twice.
He did it twice? Oh no.
Did it show you the video that he did it twice?
Also, his accent is so weird.
Yeah, it's that South African accent.
It is, dude. South Africans have such an interesting accent, man.
Yeah, I think he did it twice. Yeah, if you watch the end of it, yeah, he
Yeah.
does it twice. Yeah.
Okay, one. Oh, he does it. He does it to both. What the? What the hell? Oh my
So
god.
that being said, right?
Oh god. Yeah.
I consider that's the salute.
That's the
I
richest
mean,
man in the world, right
I
there.
mean that is the richest man in the world, but that to me is the salute right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I watched um like the ADO for like like the ADO. I think they're like the people for Jewish people
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And they said no, that wasn't a Nazi salute. And I said, what qualifies as a Nazi salute? Then, if that is not a Nazi salute,
Uh,
I don't know what it is. A Nazi salute.
well, I don't think he did it. Okay, so the way the arm was like at the end is correct, I believe, but I don't think touching the heart is the way you do it. There's like it's more. I don't know exactly what it looks like, but there like the whole
Mhm.
he probably did he did like half of it is what it looks like, So yeah, I don't know, but
I don't
man,
know either. It was just funny. To me, I think he did it, and then other people say he didn't do it. So I don't know. It's just weird to me. People in Germany are definitely saying he did it,
okay, all
and
right,
I
fair
mean,
enough. Yeah,
they're I think in like Europe and stuff, not only in Germany but like other parts of Europe, they're showing it, but they're actually censoring his arm out because it's illegal to show. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, the German
Oh
people
man,
definitely said he did it, and I'm like,
okay.
they're the originators, so if they said he did
It's their salute, so
it,
fair enough, fair enough, fair enough, fair enough.
so I
Oh
don't know.
man, that is the
That was the
richest man
funny.
on the planet. Everybody, that's amazing. Oh my
That was
god.
the funny. I didn't even watch it either, but I saw that blowing up, and like multiple people sent it to me. He was like, "Yo, did you see what he just did on stage?" And I'm
Yeah,
like, "I'm
yeah.
not watching."
I mean,
And yeah,
I don't want to get like too deep into this to
yeah,
start the
no, I
show.
don't want either.
But
I don't want
like,
either. Yeah,
I just think about the level of like they have this like gremlin army of people who are just. I feel like they're just like zealots that follow them, like him and Trump has this as well. Isn't it such a weird time we live in now? Like I
bro, the it is. Even to be completely objective, even like the left is imploding on itself,
yeah,
bro.
sure, yeah,
Because I'm on Blue Sky, and that's mainly left leaning.
yeah,
I've been called because I because they just did the ceasefire for Gaza like a week ago or
oh
something
yeah,
like that,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so I was on Blue Sky criticizing Joe Biden for how he handled the situation in general, and
hmm,
everything like that, because
yeah,
I I think he did the deal, but like Trump people also had a little bit say so in it as well.
yeah,
Like for instance, I think Trump people went to go meet with one of the head leaders or whatever, and it's the Sabbath. They wanted to do it on like a Saturday or whatever, and that's the Sabbath. And they're like, "Well, it's the Sabbath," and they're like, his people, Trump's people were really much like, "I don't give a fuck." You're meeting with us now.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
like, a couple of days later, the ceasefire happened. So I was criticizing Joe Biden. I'm like, bro, he should have did this, not the third. And people blocked me. I got called anti-Semitic by like left-leaning people. It was just crazy. And I didn't say nothing about like none of
Yeah,
that or
dude,
whatever,
you
right?
can't you can't. There's no nuance to this discourse.
Yeah,
We've talked about it
exactly.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just you're either with
Yeah.
us or against us. That's just a lot of people's headspace nowadays, which is
Yeah.
so
And
dangerous.
unfortunately, and it took like a really heavy spill into video games, that
Yeah.
mindset.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Um
100%. Yeah. I
yeah,
don't know
you're
if
with
I don't
this.
know if we're getting into that today at all, but for sure, dude.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm not gonna really bring it up today, but yeah, I mean,
Bro.
even if you mention a woman or fucking a black
Oh
person
my
or even
god, bro. It's comical. I
yeah,
will say it is an interesting thing that I did hear an opinion about this. Not an opinion, but like I was listening to a podcast. David Jaffe was on it, and he was talking about
mhm,
the backlash to um fucking intergalactic, and he said that he's trying to open his mind to what these people are upset about, and he said that one thing that he saw that is actually kind of an interesting thought is
yeah,
that men um, some men feel like they can't relate to all these female characters necessarily, right? And it's like, so
Yeah.
that and a lot of people get their enjoyment out of games, feeling like they are the character they're playing necessarily. So from that perspective, like, I can understand it. I think the
Mm-hmm.
way it's expressed though online is just not that most of the time. Like, if somebody says that, I'm not going to shut that down, right? Like, I think that's a valid thing to feel about a game. I don't feel that way. You don't feel that way. I know both of us, we're like the total fucking polar opposite of that. We play women anytime we can in games, because we're like, we are men. I don't want to be a man in my fucking escapism.
Yeah.
So, but I understand though that there are a lot of people feel the opposite, right? And that's the whole point about getting more women in games and representation and all this, because you want to have characters that you can relate to, in your media, right? So I can understand it from that point of view. And when you look at Sony's portfolio, actually, because this was in context of like talking about Sony's portfolio, when you look at Sony's portfolio right now, like, dude, all the main characters for all their major franchises pretty much are women. It's like almost all of them now. It's actually interesting when you look at it from that perspective. It's like, dude, besides like God of War, I mean, you got Ghost of Yotei, you've got The Last of Us, you've got Intergalactic, you've got Horizon, you've got even freaking oh my god, I'm forgetting. There was Ratchet and Clank, like they had the that female character they introduced in Ratchet and Clank as well. I don't think she was like a main character necessarily, but I think you did play as her.
You can play as her, yeah.
So yeah, you got that as well. So it's like Sony's definitely like leaning very heavily towards that, with a lot of their games now. So I can see if you're like a huge fan of Sony's like single player stuff and you're a dude and that's kind of your viewpoint, that you like you want to play guys because that's what you relate to or whatever. I can see where you're a little bit frustrated right now because there's just like basically nothing for you to play if that's how you feel, So
yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, it was kind of an interesting thought as well to it, but I don't know. It's weird. It's so, I mean, because Sony's been open about that though. Like they've openly said, I've literally remember Hiroki Totoki saying that they want to continue to have diverse leads in their games. So that's kind of it's not like a surprise that they're going down this path, but when you like really examine the whole portfolio, that's where it kind of landed right now. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I understand it, but I also understand that even just leaving like color out of it, just being male.
Yeah.
85% of like games, the leads are male.
Yep. Right.
So I understand from that perspective. Like, I guess in my opinion, they don't understand the difference between a little bit of change and then they feel threatened by being replaced, or no one's caring about the male side. And I don't think a lot of people, especially a lot of younger gamers. So I'm trying to look at it from like, if I'm like 16 and up,
yeah,
I didn't play older games, right? I just grew up in like maybe the PS3 era. I was young in that era, or the
Not
PS4
even.
era.
PS4,
yeah,
dude.
PS4.
Like if you're 16, you were born in like 2008. So you didn't start playing games until PS4 came out, basically. More than likely.
That's true. So yeah. I'm trying to view it from that lens, right? Which actually kind of checks in with like the statistics of like younger males, regardless of race. A lot of them are leaning towards the right, and a lot of them are leaning towards like this manosphere type content and everything of that nature.
Yeah.
So that makes sense why it bleeds into the video games as well. And that from that perspective, I definitely get it, right? I understand it, because now that 15% is your 80% or is your 85%. Whereas for me, that 15% is not indicative of anything. I'm like, man, there have been men in games all the time.
It's not even,
or leads.
Like if we look at the entire history of games, it's like 4% probably. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. And then the women that were leads of the games, were like super busty hot chicks or whatever the
Yeah,
case may
right,
be, right?
right.
And then
Yeah,
they just started to change that as well. So like I said, I understand if like you were born sub like 2010 or something like that, and now or 2005, I'll give you 2005. If you were born 2005 and up, I can definitely understand like where you're coming from, but I also need you to understand the history of what you're playing. You see what I'm saying?
yeah, right.
And I
Yeah,
understand a lot of people don't want to dive deep into that and everything of that nature, and that's totally fine. But I also feel like, and this is a hot take, but I feel like it's kind of relevant. If you don't want to learn the history of like the medium that you're pertaining to, I mean, you do have a voice, but just understand your voice is going to be extremely limited as far as like what decisions should be made for games and things of that nature, in my opinion. And I know that's like a really hot take or whatever,
hmm,
because it kind of negates like newcomers into the space or whatever.
right.
Um, but that's just like how I feel, because if you like if you just don't know the history of video games and how we got here, there are so many people that don't understand Gamergate and that don't understand, Anisa Sarkeesian and what her effects on the industry and everything of that nature. So, and then there are people who don't even know who invented the video game cartridge. Like a black
Yeah,
man invented the video game cartridge. So it's
yeah.
just like we don't understand all this stuff, and then we come into this space, and then we're just saying, you know, crazy stuff. Now, I can excuse the younger audience, right? What I can't excuse are people who run these YouTube channels who are our age who are saying this shit. I'm like, you should know the history of
I don't think
gaming.
they're saying it from a place of good faith, though. I think they're just trying to. They're trying to whip up a mob. Like I don't think they're actually. I don't even. I like honestly. I think a lot of them don't even necessarily believe what they're saying.
I
You know.
I, I believe that as well. I know this is like a video game podcast show. I'm sorry, but
I mean, we're talking about games.
yeah, um, I think also, which I sometimes I hope we get bigger and like other people like listen to some of these podcasts, because both me and you talk about the male loneliness that we encountered as young people and
Yeah.
the things that
Yeah.
we had to kind of navigate and everything of that nature, and how we are grateful that we didn't have to grow up today, because we did, both of us, me and you, had an edge lord phase. I think
Mm,
most men have an edge lord phase they
yeah.
go through, whether it be like, a super left, right, middle, or whatever the case may be, manosphere type thing, or like, you know emo edge or whatever, right? Every man has it, but then every man kind of grows out of it. There are
Yeah.
some men who like stay in it. But I was thinking it's harder for the younger men to get out of it now, is because it's being weaponized and monetized against them. Or yeah, against them. Like we have the Andrew Tates and all the, red pill podcasts and everything like that kind of, um instead of like saying like, hey bro, this is just, women aren't like this or whatever the case would be. They are saying women are exactly how you're thinking. They are, this property, or you are like, at first I did like the manosphere thing because it was trying to teach like kid boys to like get out and do stuff and,
Hmm.
work out and be fit. But then it just turned into like weird women hating and, weird like misogynistic shit. And I was just
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is like edgelord shit. This is what every teenage boy thinks when they're growing up, but we eventually grow out of it because we have to interact with the world and everything. But if you're just constantly online with like your phone and all this other stuff like that, and YouTube and everything of that nature, then you will ever grow out of it. And it the people who are making this type of content, they're getting paid to make more edge lord manosphere type shit where the teenager can't grow out of it. So then you have a 25-year-old thinking like a 16-year-old when they're, and they just never grew out of it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So and I think that like happens with video games too. Like you just have the same thing being regurgitated over and over and over and over again, to where um you just never grow out of it. And like your algorithm backs you up as well. It kind of validates how you feel. Like, well, see, all these all these YouTube videos are telling me how I should feel. And even when you don't think like that, I mean, the algorithm has been pushed on me. I get like content and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't even want this shit. Like, what the fuck? So it it's hard to like fault these young people for thinking like this, especially young gamers for feeling like this, you know. Even like I would say people as young as like 25, 26, it's hard to fault them because they have all this content being pushed onto them, validating how they feel, or how they think, when like the edge lord phase is nothing but a phase, in my opinion.
Yeah. One pseudo counterpoint, I guess, to this is I think one thing we do need to remember though is I think why a lot of people feel this way is that I think the majority of gamers are not variety gamers the way we are.
Mm,
I actually think we're pretty rare in the space. Like most content creators in video games are variety gamers by necessity. Like, right, if you're going to cover
yeah,
games, you need to play a lot of games, you know, to kind
yeah.
of reach the most amount of people you can. But I think gamers themselves are not really variety gamers. Most gamers I've ever met outside of like you, for instance, or like DJ, don't play games the way we do. Like they play a few games a year, you know, and they have their franchises that they like. So
Mm,
I always equate this to like Mass Effect. When people were disappointed with Mass Effect 3 or whatever, or when remember when EA said they were putting it on ice, or when Jason Schreier said they were putting it on ice a long time ago after Andromeda or whatever.
yeah.
And that was like I think I made an argument. I think we talked about this on the podcast actually, and I made an argument about how disappointing that must be for people who are truly fans of the franchise because there's nothing else like it in video games. You know, you
Mm,
can't go get an experience like that anywhere else. So the idea that it's just gone, like that, really sucks. You know, it's not like TV or something or a movie where you just like there's a lot of stuff that you could find that's similar. You know,
yeah.
games can not a lot of the time there are a lot of franchises that are not like that necessarily. So if you're a big fan of Sony's IP and that's kind of what you play, you know, like you're a big
Hmm.
fan of like Sony single player stuff, and you feel though you're a man who feels what we were talking about earlier, where you don't like relate to the characters, where you know you played The Last of Us Part 1 and you fucking loved it, and then Last of Us Part 2 plays out the way it does, and now this is a franchise that's completely switched the lead.
Mm,
You know,
yeah, that's true. Okay.
you can't go anywhere else for that kind of experience necessarily, because I would argue that there really isn't anyone else making experiences like Naughty Dog at that level. um that is where that's where I think a lot of people are probably coming from, you know, necessarily, and
Okay.
that's where that disappointment comes from, and maybe some of the vitriol also. They're mad at Naughty Dog for doing this at the same time, which is immature. It's immature. Don't like
Yeah, it
don't
is.
get me wrong here. But I'm just trying to explain like why I think they might be feeling the way they do, you know.
No,
So
that's very valid. I will not counter that at all. I think that's a really good counterpoint. I do have to realize that a lot of people are not variety gamers. I mean, we talk about sports gamers all the time, even though we used to be sports gamers. Like they buy this game once a year and that's their game, and they just play that game
right,
every.
and they might
Yeah,
dabble into something like I don't know GTA or
yeah,
like God of
exactly.
War maybe, you know, and then that's it though. They go back to their sports game, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I think a lot of
So
people are like that, especially in this live service era we're in. You know, I think a lot of people play their live service game and then they'll kind of dip out of that for brief periods and then they go back to it. You know,
well, yeah, like
um,
I think a good example of that is like Tyler One, right? Where
yeah, yeah,
and league players. If you talk to a lot of league players, like Salty, for instance, right? We were talking to him when we talked to him. He's like, "Yeah, I just never played this game before. Like, all I play is league, bro. That's
yeah.
it." And like now he's starting to like dip into other
Branch out,
games and
yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, but yeah, when I was just talking to him, I'm like, man, that's crazy. Like, all you play is league. He's like, yeah, that's all I play is like league 24/7, bro.
Hmm.
It's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. So I mean, you do have to approach it from that angle, and yeah, the way people may voice their opinions is that they don't know. Maybe they don't know how to voice their opinion, so it just comes off as immediate anger because that's the
yeah,
only way they know how to express it,
yeah.
as
Right,
well. Yeah,
right.
so yeah, I get
Yep,
it. I get it.
yep. So, all right, that was a good intro. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is the Players Take episode 306. I'm your host Justin DeSimone, joined as always by my co-host Montrell Rice. If you have not listened before, this is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and your favorite podcast app of choice. And if you'd like to send us questions that we'll answer on the show, you can do so on Twitter at The Players Take, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. All right, Montrell, we got a big show today. Let's get into it. We'll start with what we've been playing like usual. I can start. League. I don't know if you have much to say about League this week. We did play a little bit. We kind of backed off the last few days a bit.
Yeah.
I think we were grinding a bit too hard. So, but I think there's a new patch that came out yesterday or today. So we probably will check that out this weekend, I assume. But
if you want to, we can do it after the pod today.
Fair enough. I'll probably be down. And there's some decent changes in there. They got rid of the first blood thing for the feats of strength. I think they nerfed the blood petals a little bit. They nerfed in the sense of increase the amount of gold the enemy team gets with the revive buff that you get from Otacon as well. So they're trying to find the right balance for all that. This also is where they're putting the ADC item buffs, I believe, in as well, which is good. Good to see also. So yeah, a few things to look forward to. Oh yeah, they buffed blue essence gains out of the battle pass as well significantly.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, I mean, YouTube has been so my algorithm is very League focused. It's guns in League, and then some action. and then occasionally like music stuff and action games. But right now, a lot of content creators in League have been putting out stuff because of the Blue Essence thing. Yeah, they I heard they've been buffing it like crazy, or they're gonna buff it like crazy, or they probably did already. Because Blue Essence is the only way. I never bought a champion with like
money,
RP or Riot points, which is the paid currency that you have to use to buy skins in League of Legends. You can get Blue Essence by actually playing the game, and you can buy champions that way. They usually cost like 6,300 rather, Blue Essence or whatever. And they significantly nerfed it, and you don't get Blue Essence after every game anymore. You get it in your battle pass,
right.
Which was crazy. And on top of that, for players like myself who are past like level 30 or 40 or 50 or something like that, it was a huge nerf to us because we don't get it. Now, granted, I don't even need Blue Essence anymore. I wish they would do something else with the currency because I have like almost 1 million Blue Essence.
Dude, they do actually. You can buy chromas with Blue Essence.
Oh yeah, that's right. A lot of the skins I have though don't have Blue Essence.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know that. I found that in the store when I was poking around a few weeks ago. So that's something you can do with it. But
yeah. So I mean, that's actually a cool thing to do with it. But yeah, I mean, I think Blue Essence is needed, especially if you're trying to get newer players to play your game.
Yeah,
because they need to be able to play the game and then buy. Because maybe you're playing support or whatever, and then I think you unlock like Ash, as you can unlock Ash as a ADC and a support or whatever, and you see Sona at the side, you're like, oh, I want to buy Sona, that character looks really cool because the other person is playing it. You can actually do that with Blue Essence, but the way they had it nerfed now, if like a new player like DJ comes into play, he wants to play Sona, he wants to buy Sona, he'll have to play like 4 billion games just to buy fucking Sona, and that's not worth it,
Yeah, so, and with 180 champions or 170 champions, dude, like, oh my god, it's miserable. It sounds horrible,
Yeah.
So they needed to do this, in my opinion, because dude, they increased the post battle pass rewards, the ones you get at like level 51, 2, 3, 4, 5 and beyond, they increased it from 50 Blue Essence to 750 per level.
Jesus Christ.
Like, does that not tell you how undertuned it was? Like, that's fucking crazy, man. It's
yeah, why would they put 50 essence? It's so stupid.
Dude, 50 Blue Essence, just to give you guys context, 50 Blue Essence is fucking worthless. Like, you can't possibly do anything with that in the fucking game. Like, it's like the lowest a champion costs in terms of Blue Essence, I think, is 630 or something. Yeah. Which is very few champions in the game, by the way. Like, there are very few who are worth that little.
Yeah,
Most
usually
of
those
them,
champions are the first released champions
yeah,
ever, like the
yes,
original 12 or
yes,
13 or
yep,
whatever.
yep. And dude, like to get most champions, you need 3150 or 4800. For the most part. Anybody who's recent-ish, like within the last few years, is 6,300. But they usually get reduced down to 4,800 at some point.
Yep.
So
Hmm.
50 blue essence, when you need 4,800, you would need to level 96 times on the battle pass to get that much blue essence,
Oh
which
my
when
god,
I
dude,
tell
that's
you, Montrell and I have been
fucking
playing a
crazy.
lot, and I'm only level 23, I think, on the battle pass. Like,
Yeah, I
so
gotta
it's
check what I am. It's crazy. Yeah.
yeah, it's very slow this season. It is not fast the way it was on the older event passes. So yeah, you that just to give you context, that's it's insane. It was not well thought out. 750, while I will say 750 is crazy. I didn't think they needed to make it that high, but I'll take it, bro. Like I'm not gonna
Yeah.
complain. I think that's a good change. So I think that's a good change overall. So hopefully I because I'm gonna be honest, I think League they've been dabbling with greedier and greedier monetization methods lately. They just introduced like a fucking gotcha in the game a few months ago with the stupid Jinx skin, and now they have I think a set skin in there right now. That this seems to be their preferred model moving forward, which is crazy to me, but they're doing it. And yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it's fine. The game's free, right? Like you can play for free. There's a free champion rotation. I don't have a problem with you monetizing the game. It's just like don't be so predatory though that you starve the free players. Like that's how you get people to quit. And if people don't play, like if people quit League over some of this stuff, the game's gonna die. It's just like that's obviously I'm being maybe a little extreme, but over time it would die, if they didn't go back on some of this stuff, because it's like, dude, if you're a free player and you don't want to spend money, and you basically can't earn champions at a certain point, and you can't earn skins, like they make it super hard to earn skins, like what the fuck is, like, you're getting nothing, like you get no rewards. Yes, you want to play the game to play the game, but dude, getting rewards is also part of the fun, so
Yeah. Yep.
taking that away is a mistake for sure. So um, we'll see. I'm sure they'll make more adjustments. I still am not super satisfied with the battle pass. Like, I think the leveling is too slow. You have to play way too much to level it up. Like, it's kind of crazy, actually. I don't like Apex did this. You remember when Apex changed their battle pass? You remember how easy it was to level back in the day? And then they made a change in like season 7 or something, 6 or 7, I remember, and they made it like super grindy. You had to play like every fucking day to max it out,
Yeah. Yeah. I
in a
remember that.
season. And it feels like League's doing the same thing. And I hate that shit, dude. Because
I think.
I'm not gonna
I'm
buy it.
sorry.
If I'm not gonna
Yeah.
buy it if I don't finish it. I'm that kind of player. So yeah.
Yeah. I think we're just entering the era of like they realize this the sink or the ship is sinking. So
Yeah.
they're trying to get really aggressive with what they want or what they're trying to do or
But
whatever.
isn't that the
Uh,
opposite of what you should do? Like, shouldn't you be super generous to get people to come back? I don't know. I feel crazy. Like,
I yeah, I mean these are free to play games at the end of the day, so they have to get their they have to get their monetization somehow. So I don't. This is going to sound really controversial, I guess, or against my whole thing, but I don't really consider it super predatory when it's like a non-paid game, if that makes any sense, because that is
yeah,
their main form of income. Now, when it's a paid game, I have a really, really big issue with it. Like
yeah,
really big issue.
yeah.
Um, but like League, Dota, even Apex, I don't like these games, or I mean, I like some of them, but it's just like I get it. I understand why you have to do it, if that makes any sense. Um,
Yeah.
it's almost like playing an MMO, a free to play MMO, and you know you have an action bar that's locked out, and you got to pay like $5 for it. And it's like I get it, like it's a free to play MMO, you have to monetize something, so let me pay my little $5 to get my extra action bar or whatever the fucking case may be
I hate
or
that.
whatever.
That's awful. That's so
It
stupid.
is awful, but it's like it's
Oh
also
my
free to
god.
play,
Monetize
So
other things though, it's just like monetizing the ability to play the game is crazy, I don't know.
yeah,
But
it is. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I
no.
just don't know, man.
So yeah, other than League, still playing Wuthering Waves. New banner came out today. Actually, I did a couple 10 pulls, and I got the banner character in 20 pulls. Actually, it was technically 11 pulls, which is fucking crazy. That is super lucky. So that was cool. Still playing that. Slowly making my way through content. I'm now past the point where I was when I was on PC. So I think I've kind of eclipsed my other account at this point, which is good. And then got back into watching all this OnlyFans, got me in this World of Warcraft mood. So I played a little World of Warcraft last night on the Turtle WoW server. And I was just doing a little leveling on my hunter, nothing crazy on there. So just messing around with that a bit. I'm so close to max level. Like I actually think I'm gonna like start doing dungeons and stuff and trying to get gear. Um, Getting back into that. And then I did start playing something new also, though. I decided to boot up Kingdom Come Deliverance. And Montrell, how much do you know about this game?
I had a joke for it, but I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, I heard it's like really, if you love medieval stuff or that time period,
Yeah.
then this game is like the best game to play for that time period.
Yeah.
Even they even revamped the combat. I remember when they first came out, the combat wasn't too good, but then they revamped it, like 2.0 or 3.0 type combat, and it's like
Yeah.
really fucking good. The
Yeah.
story is really good. They have choices and things of that nature, so it's very accurate to playing in that time period without like all the magic and stuff like that. It's very grounded
Yeah.
in that reality.
Yes. Yes, it's intended to be like a historical fiction, but
Yeah, yeah.
very trying to be close to reality as much as it can be. So I haven't played a ton. I'd probably say I put in maybe 5 hours into the game, but I've pretty much gotten through what I would call the tutorial for the game. um, and Yeah, man, this game is very interesting. So this game is like peak, like Eurojank, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
It is janky as fuck. Even with all the patches and everything, it is very like rough around the edges, movement, combat, attacking, blocking. Like it's very rough around the edges in that regard. But I don't look at that as a problem necessarily. I think the game is fine as is because it's trying to you're playing as this character named Henry, and they really want you to feel like you're Henry, like, is kind of how the game is, because this game has a lot of more sim like elements in it. Like you have to eat, you have to sleep. The longer you go without eating and sleeping, it affects your character's ability to function. So you'll have less energy, less stamina to work with. If you're tired, your character starts getting woozy and like kind of like almost acting like they're drunk a little bit. Sort of like they're so tired they can't even like stay awake standing up, and walking around and stuff. So stuff like that. So the game's got a lot of elements like that, and I'm actually enjoying it a lot so far. It's definitely Western RPG vibes for sure, but it's very different from something like The Witcher 3. It's not it's got I'd say the storytelling elements are definitely similar in that regard, but a lot of the gameplay is like completely different. It's a first person game. You are traveling and stuff is kind of a task in this game. Like you have to figure out how to get from point A to point B. It's not as simple as just fast traveling necessarily. You do get fast travel at some point. I think I might have just gotten to that point potentially, but early in the game, you don't have a lot of tools at your disposal, and stuff like that. And if you want to get anywhere fast, you need a horse for sure. Running from point A to point B is going to take you a while, for sure. But yeah, I like the game though. It's the early part of the game. So basically, you are playing a Bohemian peasant. His name is Henry, and he's the son of a blacksmith in this town. And the early part of the game, I don't really want to spoil anything. I think if you go into this game blind, it'll actually be kind of cool. But
Mhm.
there's like a big event that happens early in the game that kind of kicks off the narrative essentially. But The early part of the game, though, you're kind of talking to your dad in the morning. He gives you you need to do a bunch of stuff for him. You're kind of his like apprentice essentially. He needs like a bunch of things in town to finish this sword for somebody. And there's a lot of different ways you can accomplish these tasks. You don't do it all in one way necessarily, which is cool. So this is kind of like I almost equate it to like Deus Ex. I don't think The Witcher is The Witcher like gives off this vibe that there's a lot of choice in the game, and there is, but usually there's only like 2 or 3 maybe ways to like complete certain activities or quests. Whereas in games like this and Deus Ex, there's actually a numerous ways you can complete objectives. So for instance, one of the objectives is there's this guy in town who bought like a hammer and nails from the blacksmith, and he owes money for those, and you need to go collect the money. And when you walk up to him, he doesn't want to give you the money. He doesn't, you're the son. He doesn't respect you. He's just like, fuck you. I'm not giving you the money. So you could do this multiple different ways. So you could like fight him for the money. Like you could beat him up, try to beat him up for the money or whatever, and have him give it to you. You could just go into his house and steal it from him if you can figure out how to do that without getting caught. You can also the way I ended up doing it is Henry has like friends that are his age. You go help them with something, and then they'll come help you get the money from this guy. Basically, like almost like bully him or intimidate him into giving you the money, essentially. So there's like multiple different ways you can handle these things, and it's kind of cool. And the first time I did it, I tried to fight him, and then I went into his house and I tried to like steal the what I needed to from him, and I got caught. Like he saw me, and then he called the guards, and they arrested me. They threw me in jail. Basically, and then it ended up resulting in a game over screen because of the event that happens later in the prologue. Basically, which was like, it was kind of cool. It was like a really cool thing. Like it played out the way it would. Like the game didn't change just because I did something necessarily. Like the same events still happened, over time as time passed. So it's a very interesting game in that regard. I'm now that I'm kind of, I think, free to do what I want now. I'm going to see how the open world nature of the game plays out, and how the quests play out and everything like that. But I think it's a very specific game, though. I wouldn't recommend it to everybody. It's if you're okay with a slower paced RPG, and one that is very sim like, simulation like, then you're into history and stuff like that, I think you probably would like this game. But if you're looking for more like a Witcher or like Skyrim or something like that, I don't know. This is a little bit more like granular than those games in terms of mechanics and the way things work. The game is super awkward at points too. It is a little weird. It's kind of unclear why certain things happen. Like for instance, I was in a location. There were guards around. I went into a private, what is labeled as like a private area, and I was there too long. So a guard saw me and started like harassing me and yelling at me and telling me to leave. So then I left, but the game, like, I don't know if it like bugged out or what. The guard continued to follow me and yell at me, even though I was out of the area, and he like arrested me or whatever. So I had to like load a save, basically. So there is some jank like that in the game as well, but it's still, it's interesting. The it's like kind of cool at the same time though, because if you like succeed at like doing something sneaky or something like that, it's actually kind of an accomplishment in this game, because it's not easy to do. If you just walk into a room and try to like lock pick a locked chest or something, somebody could walk up to you while you're doing it, and you can't see. You're in the lockpick interface, so you don't know if they're there. Like, basically, so then they'll kick you out of the interface and they'll be like, "Hey, you're trying to steal or whatever." And they'll come and like try to arrest you or something like that. So you got to be very careful. I'm still trying to learn, the ways around these mechanics and like how to kind of do things in a way where I don't get myself in a bad situation. But yeah, it's a fun game. The combat is slow. I would equate it to like what I've seen of like Chivalry or something like that, where it's kind of like directional combat, where you kind of aim your sword in a certain direction on like at in the enemy. So you might like target their shoulder or something, or you might target their head or something like that, and they can block in a certain direction, and it's the same for you as well. So you can like block in a certain direction or something like that. So it's very unforgiving early though. Like early in the game, Henry sucks at everything, dude. Like you can swing your sword like 4 times and then he's tired. And you have to like wait for your stamina to regenerate, basically, which becomes an opening for the enemy to attack you as well. Because if you don't have stamina, you can't block. It takes stamina to block as well in this game. So the game is kind of unforgiving early on, as well. But it's cool though. Like you're playing somebody who has like you are literally a Bohemian peasant. Like you're nobody. You don't have any special skills or anything like that. You have to work hard to develop yourself as a person. Basically, it's like almost like a self improvement game at the same time, which is kind of cool. It's interesting. Games don't really approach things like that. It's usually always like power fantasy type stuff, and that this game is not a power fantasy in any way, as so far, at least that I can tell. So if you're kind of looking for a different experience in that regard, where you're looking for something that isn't a power fantasy, this could be a good game to check out as well. It was just on sale. It was super cheap. It was like $3, I think. On sale. So it frequently goes on sale at this point, and it's super cheap nowadays. And with the second game coming out in a couple weeks, it's kind of why I decided to check this out, because I may actually end up playing the second game. Depending if I can finish this in time, I probably won't, but I'm interested in this franchise now for sure. It's very very cool game so far. But do you have any interest in it, Montrell, playing it?
I've seen it pop up on my feed like a couple times, but I don't think I'm too interested in it. It's a little bit too realistic for me. So
Okay, gotcha.
yeah,
yeah, it's a different kind of game for sure. It's
yeah,
I would call it fairly unique within the game space. It's definitely like got elements of many other games in the past, but I think the package they've put together is kind of their own thing, which is cool. They have their own style for sure. So but yeah, of course the game also has like encumbrance and stuff. You can only carry so much weight, things like that. So it's one of those games, but it's a little heavier than like a Bethesda game in that regard too. It's you cannot carry very much early in the game. Like, dude, if you get a full suit of armor, you basically can carry that and some food, and that's it. Like, you don't have enough weight limit to carry like all this fucking loot around, and do all sorts of crazy shit with it. Like, it's not like that early game. So yeah. That's all I've been playing. What about you, Montreal? What have you been up to?
So this week I have been extremely busy, like mobilizing job sites. Or mobilizing the really big job site. So I've been getting up at like 5 a.m. every day this week, and going to bed at like
Okay.
and going to bed at like besides the one day we played League, I've been going to bed at like 9 or 10.
Okay.
And then yesterday I couldn't play any games. I had to take not had to, but I took my wife out for dinner for her birthday, which is very nice. I like the restaurant we went to. I do recommend. It's called Table 13. If you guys are in the Dallas area or Addison area, it's really good.
Yeah.
Fancy restaurant, fine dining. Can't wear anything like any athletic clothes or anything like that.
Oh shit! You gotta dress up.
Yeah, you gotta dress up. She really wanted to dress up, so I had to find a restaurant. It was kind of hard because she's gluten free, so she's allergic to gluten. So I had to find a restaurant that had a lot of gluten options, and this restaurant did. It also had like live music, so they had somebody. It was a really like upscale, laid back place. Like it reminded me like a Frank Sinatra kind of bar, but it was a restaurant. So you'll walk in there, and then like you have somebody on the piano playing and singing and everything like that. Really low lit, coat check there and everything like that. And we sat down and ate. It was really good. The food was like really good actually. It was expensive, but really fucking good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I didn't really play too many games this week besides League of Legends. I need you to do me a favor, and I need you to motivate me to beat this game, Metaphor. Because bro, I can't I already
You're in
promised
the
myself.
you're in the dog days of it, bro. You're in the dog
Yeah,
days of it. Oh no.
yeah, and I already promised myself. I literally won't touch another game until I beat this game. So I have like several games on backlog because I want to beat this game, but like I just don't feel like grinding. And I need you to convince me to just lower the difficulty and finish the game.
Well, what I'll tell you is okay. You said you had 13 days to go or something like that.
Yeah, I think I'm at 13.
Okay.
13.
Next time you turn the game on, just go to the final dungeon. Okay. And that you because you need to do that before you get to the end of the 13 days. So just do that and you'll see what happens, and then you'll have probably some more time to do what you want. But I will also tell you, don't do the dragons. Fuck the dragons. Okay, like don't waste your time with that shit. You can do everything else, but I don't even necessarily think you need to do everything else. When you get to the final dungeon, like you will be able to grind significantly faster. So I
Mhm.
would really recommend you kind of stop doing it now. I don't. It's just not worth it. Like the
Well, what
diminishing
about the bond
returns.
levels and stuff like that? Because I'm trying to get those last two party members' bond levels up, and I
Yeah,
feel like
you'll have time to do that. I mean, I'd say do it. It's not going to take you very long. I mean, those cutscenes aren't long with them. I mean, it's like 5 minutes
yeah.
or less, usually. So, um, but yeah, I'd say focus on the bond levels, and that's really it, dude. Like, I don't really think you need to do a whole lot else. Even if you don't have your virtues max, like, it doesn't really matter at the end of the game. It's not important at the end of the game. You need to max certain bond virtues for the bond levels with those last two characters, but
Mm.
other than that, they're not super important. So yeah, I would really just say focus on finishing the game. And if you get to the final boss and you're getting your ass kicked, like just turn the difficulty down at that point. I'd say at this point where you're at, if you run into a boss you can't beat, just turn the difficulty down. Um,
Okay.
I don't think it's worth it to bash your head against the wall for this. It's you've played enough of the game, you know what it's about. It's just that's where my headspace got to. I mean, I only had to do it at the final boss, like literally the last phase of the final boss, like where I turned the difficulty down. But because I just could not stand doing all of this shit again. And having to potentially fail again at it. So, but yeah, I'd recommend once you hit like a wall that you can't overcome easily, turn the difficulty down to storyteller. I don't think there's an issue with that. So,
Okay.
but I will tell you, next time you launch the game, just go to the final dungeon. Literally, like don't do anything else. Just go to the final dungeon. Trust me. Um, it won't hurt you. It'll be the right call. So, um, because yeah, I mean you're like you're not playing anything else, right? You really just need to finish this.
Yeah, I'm trying to just finish it.
Okay.
Like,
Because yeah, I mean honestly, even if you mainline it, I think you still have like 10 hours to go. Maybe like 7 or 8 if you're fast.
yeah.
Um, something like that. So plus with Monster Hunter coming soon, like you got to get your plate clear. Okay, you got to clear your plate, man.
When does that game come out? That game will come out for another month, right?
End of February, yeah, end of February.
Yeah. Yeah, to be honest with you, I really gotta be sold on that game too. I hope it changed. I was not impressed with that demo, so I hope it really.
You're gonna play it. You're gonna play it. I know you're
I
gonna play
am.
it.
I just wasn't impressed with the demo.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see. I mean, if it's disappointing, then we'll drop it. I'm sure, like we did with Rise. But um, I'm not expecting that. I don't know, but we'll see. All right. Not playing anything else.
No, that's it.
Okay, let's move on to the news. So, I didn't know about this until you guys texted about it. I feel like Microsoft is really bad at marketing because I had no idea this was happening today.
I had no idea this was happening until DJ said something.
Yeah.
So.
And it's crazy because this is like a kind of a big deal for them. And they've been doing this every year in January, recently, last few years. But so they had a developer direct today, and they showed 4 games. And yeah, so I mean, what? Okay, let me ask you this, Montrell, because you're being a kind of a troll earlier. What do you think that I think about this developer direct.
I think you think he's just fine. That's it. Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
Okay. Well,
You're
you're
obviously not as
wrong.
excited as me and
No,
DJ. I
you're
didn't think you was
wrong. You're
okay.
wrong.
Okay.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
Okay.
I mean, let's get into it. What you want to go game by game or overall thoughts or?
We don't have to go game by game. A lot of the games they showed were rehashes, or not rehashes, but more.
Well, we can go. There's only 4 games. I mean, we can go
Yeah,
game by game. That's fine.
we can go game.
So let's start with the first one, which I know you were fucking crazy hype for.
Yeah.
Team Ninja, which I cannot believe Team Ninja's announcing this game on this. But dude, yeah, Ninja Gaiden 4.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Ninja Gaiden, the first one, came out. It was an Xbox exclusive. It didn't come to PlayStation until later on.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. And then Dead or Alive was like really big on Xbox. Dead or Alive 2, I believe. It was super big on Xbox. So it makes sense to kind of return to like not your roots, but like, what kind of blew you up. So yeah, I was super hyped for this. I wasn't even expecting Platinum to make this. And this looks really good considering Platinum lost some really good talent. I think the people that are picking up the reins from them are really talented. It looks like, because this game looks fucking phenomenal. Like, but I also, is this like in conjunction with Team Ninja, or is Team Ninja?
Yeah. So that's what I was gonna say. This is a partnership. I think they are working closely together. I think they both have teams working on this. I don't think they're not farming this out to Platinum. Okay. So let's get that. I think that let's just get that straight. That seemed pretty clear to me from the video. Which, dude, to be honest with you though, like if you're talking about combining 2 teams who make action games together to make a game, I mean, these are the 2 you pick. Yeah, exactly. No, like, I mean, holy shit! I'm like, dude, when they announced that, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this game is gonna be a fucking banger, bro. Like,
people who don't understand, this is like Prime Mahomes and Prime Brady getting on the same fucking team.
Yeah, if that was possible, yeah, they alternate drives or something. Yeah, it's like fucking insane, bro. Like, yeah, no, it's so that alone makes me hype for this game. Like, I'm like, I've never played Ninja Gaiden, but dude, I mean, this game looks fucking sick, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, dude, this is exactly what I'm looking for when I'm talking about like action combat, bro. The speed, the fucking agility, the just fucking, there's no hesitation. Like, the animations aren't fucking labored or stalling or anything like that. Like, bro, you stab a dude, you fucking stab him, and he's done. So it's I don't know. This game looks really cool.
Yeah, it looks like it combined the best of like Team Ninja and the best of Platinum, and they made this game, and they're making this game. It looks really good. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I don't know, because like the old Ninja Gaiden games were action combat games for sure, but they didn't have the they're a little bit more technical. They didn't have like the freedom of expression like that Platinum games have, but they're like really good action games. They're really hard. Especially put them on like the hardest difficulty, they're like super fucking hard. And Team Ninja knows how to make a really good action game, and that's what Ninja Gaiden was. So it looks like it's combining the best of both of those elements in these games, which is really funny because there's a mod out for the new, like, so you can get Ninja Gaiden Collector's Edition right now, and there's a mod that actually turns the game into like an action combat type game. They kind of remove the restrictions of some of the stuff, and you can do like crazy combos with it as well. And that mod is called Ninja Gaiden Black, which is hilarious. That they also had a remake or a remaster. I don't think it's a remake. I think it's just a really, really good remaster of Ninja Gaiden 2, which is called Ninja Gaiden Black, Ninja Gaiden Sigma Black, or Ninja Gaiden Black 2, that's out right now, that you can download it right now as a day of recording. So yeah, but you remember I talked about this with Platinum Games. I think they need guidance as far as like a story. They are not good at like telling their own stories. It was very evident with like Astral Chain, which is like their own IP. It's just not good. They're not really good at it. But when they're collabing with people, that's, in my opinion, when they shine the best. Because they're not taking leadership, but they're like, if the creator allows them the creativity to create something within their own world, then they just go crazy with it. Like you see with Metal Gear Revenge, you see with fucking Near
Yeah.
Automata.
Yep.
You obviously see it with this game too. Even like their trash games, I call it. I don't think they're trash, but like their licensed games, right? Like you have Transformers. That was a really good fucking action combat game.
Yeah.
And Core Legend of Avatar, even though it was like kind of janky, it was still a really good, in my opinion, a really good rough action game for what an Avatar game could be. And yeah, I don't know. I think they just have extremely good talent when they have like the leads in the range. The only original IP they made that was like really really good was Bayonetta, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't wait for this game. It's going to be announced. It's coming out in fall of this year. So I have to wait a whole 12 fucking months or 10 months or whatever, because fall can be anywhere between September and fucking
Yep.
December.
True.
So
True. I'm thinking September though, honestly, or
September.
maybe even August, like late August.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
I could see that. So I don't know. Yeah, man. I'm probably gonna try. I'm probably gonna give this game a shot. For sure, because this looks sick, dude. Like I don't like it actually. So I don't know how familiar you are with this franchise, but some of the platforming and stuff they showed, it kind of reminds me of like Ghost Runner. What I played,
Yeah, right. I saw that as well.
Yeah, but it's like third person because Ghost Runner is first person. So yeah, which that was kind of interesting as well. And that's pretty cool. So yeah, this looks really cool, man. Ryu Hayabusa is in the game as well. It seems like you're playing two protagonists in this.
Yep.
And they have a new character, and then obviously Hayabusa himself, who's from the older games. It seems like these two characters actually will fight at some point, which is kind of cool. That seems pretty fucking sick. That would be a sick boss fight at some point in the game. But yeah, man, this is exciting. I'm happy to see this with Team Ninja too. I don't want them to get away from this kind of stuff. This is their kind of origination. This is how they came into being, is making these games back in the day, the 2D ones. So,
yep.
And even the 3D ones into the 360 era and stuff, and PS2. And I think that's, that's they need to keep this action roots, like I think that's who they are at their absolute core. So it's really cool to see this.
I mean, you can see it bleed into their other games. I mean, the Uzuma drop is in every fucking near. I'm sorry, not near, but Neo game to fucking Final Fantasy, Stranger in Paradise. You can do the Uzuma drop in that game as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, they definitely know their roots. I still would like another Neo, an actual Neo 3 game.
Give it to me.
But I understand why they probably leaving it. I think Wulong was like their last hurrah in that type of space.
Yeah.
And now they're moving back to. I think they see the industry kind of shifting away from. I hate calling like Neo, Wulong, and other games Soul games, but like that type of like camera angle action game style or whatever.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm glad they're moving back towards this style and stuff. So
fair enough. All right. So the second game was South of Midnight, and this game is funny to me because I feel like every time they show it, it looks significantly better. This is a game you can very clearly see the development progress of. Yeah. That first trailer, dude, I don't even know what they were thinking back in the day with that. Like it was such a turnoff that I like didn't even consider this a game I would play in my mind, and here we are now, like fast forward to now where it's like, yeah, this game looks really cool actually. Like
yeah, I think they stopped. I think they realized how much the stop motion animation they were trying to emulate looked at the time. And they kind of dialed it down a lot, which I'm glad too. But yeah, this game looks fucking sick. Like I can't wait for this game. And this is also the game that everyone's saying the character was race swapped and everything when it's an original IP. So I don't know, but I think the lore, the Southern lore and everything from like the voodoo and Louisiana culture and everything like that. And it's not just black people, it's obviously white people and everything like that, because that is Louisiana culture and everything of that nature. It's all encompassing of that. I think it's just a really fucking cool game. I think the enemy design looks really cool. I think the character design looks really cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, how did you feel about it? Because I've been following this game for a while, so this was like super hype for me. I was like, holy shit, this game looks fucking dope as fuck.
No, I think it looks really cool, honestly, dude. It's I don't know if I'm personally gonna play it per se, but I think it definitely looks like a strong game, which I had a lot more doubts about it earlier on in kind of the news cycle for this game or the marketing cycle for this game. So I think at this point I feel pretty confident that this is going to be a pretty solid game.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a. I hope Xbox releases it on multiple consoles because I really want this game to go like do really good. At least go.
We'll talk
gold.
about that later, but I think we're definitely I think we're definitely going to be seeing this game on PlayStation. I think everything we saw today is going to be on other consoles as well, and I'd be surprised by that. But it's coming on April 8th also, so it's very soon. It's less than 3 months away. So, but it's also Game Pass as well on Xbox, and yeah, man, no, I think it's cool because they talk about it's about the deep south is what they keep calling calling the setting.
Yeah.
But that extends to them. They mention the Appalachian Mountains,
Oh, okay. So it does extend
so
past like
that's like,
Louisiana.
yeah, that's one of the zones. So I don't think you're just staying in Louisiana like type area. I think you're going all over to like different geographical areas in the South. Um, so that's the other cool part of it too. It seems like a much bigger game than I thought it was going to be upon initial announcement. Like this seems like it's actually going to be pretty hefty.
Yeah, I am. I'm actually surprised at how big it looks like it's going to be as well. I'm actually surprised by the enemy variety and even like the combat system itself. When he was mentioning like doing combos and stuff like that, I'm like, oh, okay, this is actually going to be like a full fledged action game.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, it looks very interesting.
The bosses look crazy too.
Yeah, man, they look really good. I can't wait to get this game. It's going to be a first day buy for me.
Yeah.
And this comes out in April, right?
April 8th. Yep.
Yep.
So not too far. I mean, we're starting to see the schedule fill out already. This is kind of how the last couple of years have gone. Where we're getting a lot of announcements early in the year, so which is cool. So yeah, April 8th for that. And then the next game was Expedition 33. What do you think of this one, Montrell?
So before I even get to the combat, I think the story of this game is very fucking interesting.
Yes.
Like I think this is a very unique like story. So like the premise of the game, it takes place in like 19th century France or that type of world setting. And some kind of mysterious entity comes to the world where a number counts down, and if you reach that number in your age, you die or disappear. So the number is like 33 when you start, and then it's Expedition 33. So either the characters are 32 or under, or I think you get hit 33. Once you pass 33, you die. So their expedition is trying to figure out what's going on. They also mentioned that they're not trying to do a good versus evil plot. It's a more mature plot. So one thing I am very thankful for is it's JRPG, but they have like grown ass characters. I actually like metaphor for this as well. Even though your main character is only 18, like you clearly have older characters with you and everything of that nature. And I'm kind of glad that people are starting to realize like, oh, okay, our audience is older. The main people that are playing our games are like older. So maybe we start tailoring our stuff around older audiences and stuff like that. This is off topic, but like there's an anime as well called Kaiju Number 8. The main character in there is like he's in 30s, and I like that's a really good anime to watch. I recommend it. It's really cool. But anyway, yeah. Also, I think the combat looks really fucking cool. They did mention that the real time, which I laughed. The real time was too hard for a lot of the turn based people. But
I know, I love it. Oh, it's so funny. I mean, you got to know your audience, though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Don't push it too
I,
hard.
I
Well,
immediately
I
thought about Final Fantasy 16. I
no,
immediately thought about that game.
true, dude, true. No, but I did like though when they were talking about balance. They said that if you want to play, what the action part of the combat does is allows you to play riskier if you're good at it,
Yep.
and if you're not good at it, you will rely more on items and abilities to kind of get you through the game. Which I think that is a really great balance to strike. So if you want to play this traditionally, where you're not like the action stuff isn't really for you at all, then you can. But you're rewarded for doing it as well. I think that's the right balance necessarily. It's not like a necessity to do to beat the game, which is I think is a good call. But yeah, dude, so of the four, I mean, this is the one it's not even close. Like by far, this is the one I'm most interested in. This game looks fucking awesome, bro. Like I am actually like amped for this fucking game. Like I love the concept. All the characters they talked about in the game, the party you have, sounds really fucking cool. This like growth system, the progression system in the game seems really in depth. Like when they showed the screen with all the different like perks you can get in the game and what you can do with each character, like there seems to be a lot of depth in this game. And yeah, like you said, the story and narrative is very interesting. I think this is going to be a very cool game to kind of experience and see. But dude, I mean, they're literally just building a JRPG though. Did you see the part where they showed the 3D world map that they did?
Yes. Yeah,
dude,
man,
it's like they're
dope.
literally just building like their version of like a Final Fantasy game, like an old school Final Fantasy game, basically in the modern day is like what they're trying to do, basically, is what it seems like. So maybe not from a story standpoint, but from gameplay and systems they are.
Yeah, and that's literally what he said. He said he wanted the modern JRPG with using like the most modern technology and stuff like that. And yeah, like I think it's a really cool game. Small team. I think it's only like maybe 20 to 30 people making this game.
I don't even think it's that many, dude. Like, dude, they literally work in a house. Like, that's like if you watch the video, if you pay attention, like they're literally in a house, like working.
Yeah.
Like that's their development studio, which is sick. I love that. That kind of energy is so awesome, dude. I love that.
Well, it's also low risk, right? You don't have to lay off people or anything like that. It's like, we sell a couple 100 copies or 1,000 copies and we can make our revenue back or whatever. So I do like that. And I actually like Microsoft how they focused on the developers and the games. They did a really good job at balancing both of them, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I believe out of all of these games, well, obviously, I guess you can count, Team Ninja and Platinum Games. Would you count them as a AAA developer, or would you count them as a AA developer?
They're like right on the edge. I would say they're like they are AAA. I'd say they are AAA. I mean, Doom is certainly AAA as well.
Yeah, Doom's triple. That's what I'm saying. It's definitely a AAA game. Doom.
I mean, this game looks like a AAA game.
Dude, it does. And
I don't necessarily think it has the budget and the team size of a AAA game, but these people seem to be doing something crazy with.
I think that goes to show the power of like Unreal 5, because I think that game's been made in Unreal 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. This game looks fucking sick, and yeah, when he showed the perk system and all the different things you can do and everything, I think the characters themselves, even the side characters and NPCs and everything, look really cool. The character designs and the way the designer was talking his process of how he was designing the characters, I think is really cool. I don't know. I can't wait to explore this world. This world looks fucking sick, bro. Like I don't know.
Yeah. No, this looks really cool. I'm very excited about it. I think it's coming on April. I want to say it was like 23rd. Let me get over there. April 24th. Sorry. Yeah, April 24th it's coming. So I will say that is a little questionable having this in the same, like literally 2 weeks away from South of Midnight. Obviously they're different games, but I mean, these are big games, I feel like, for Xbox. So you think you'd want them a little bit more separated, but we'll see. I don't necessarily think they're going to affect each other per se, but you kind of want them to, you want to set them up for success though at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
All right, let's move on. We already mentioned it. Final game they showed was Doom, the Dark Age or Dark Ages. And what'd you think of this one, Montrell?
Honestly, I've never really been opposed to Doom. I just never got around to it. I have no idea why I never got around to Doom. It definitely seems like my type of single player, like first person game. I've been into the Wolfenstein games. I'm playing Wolfenstein 2 right now, and I fucking love it. I should have put that on my list, but I haven't played it for like a week and a half. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I played the first Wolfenstein. I beat that game, and I just never got around to Doom. So this game actually looks like really cool, and they say it's a prequel to Doom 2016, which is interesting because now I can play this game and then I can go back and play the other Dooms and stuff like that. So this game looks really fucking cool though. I like how what they're doing with the shield, and you can parry, you can block, you can absorb, you can throw, and all that shit while still maintaining like being the Doom guy or Doom Slayer or whatever the case may be. So I don't know. It looks really fucking cool. This isn't the first Doom I'm really interested in, but this is the first Doom I'm like, yeah, I'm probably gonna buy this like day one.
Yeah. I'm not a huge I'm not a big Doom fan. I've never really played. I played the original and that's about it. And so it's kind of weird. Like when I think of Doom, like the way I was thinking about it when they were showing it, like if somebody asked me what a video game is, I would probably show them Doom. Like this is the most pure video game you're gonna see. Like it is just pure nonstop gameplay for the most part. And obviously I don't know what it is. I'm in the same boat as you. I don't know why I'm like not super interested in it, because I think I like fast shooters, and that's kind of what Doom is. But for some reason I don't, it's not like, I guess from like a complete package standpoint, it's mostly just gameplay. There's not like a huge amount of story here. So maybe that's the reason, that's the issue for me potentially. But yeah, no, this game looks really good though. I mean, I like the idea of them too. They talked about this, that they're trying to do different things with the gameplay in each game. They don't want to retread ground necessarily as much as they can. Yeah, I mean, it looks very like they described the character as like a tank in this game, whereas in the last game you were kind of like jumping around a lot. It was a lot more platformy. And they want you to kind of stand your ground and fight more in this game, which is cool. I think that's a really cool that's a cool concept to explore. The shield seems very, very, very powerful, which is cool. But it's just this is it's a cool franchise. It's just cool that Doom is like still around. Like it came back and it's as big as it is now. Because I think it's just a great franchise to have in video games, because it is pure video game in my opinion. Like it's just gameplay. And I think we definitely need games like that, as well as games like The Last of Us or something like that that's more narrative focused. So
yeah,
this looks really cool. It's coming in May 15th, I believe. Was the date for that one. Also, so they got these games kind of packed together. Expedition 33 is sandwiched between Doom and South of Midnight, but yeah, it's I'm not sure. I think the other thing, like we'll get into this in the next story here, but yeah, I don't know how soon these games are all going to come to other platforms, but I feel pretty confident that all of them are going to be on PlayStation, even Doom. To some degree, they're just not announcing that today. So yeah. Any other thoughts you had on Doom?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, well, overall, yeah, I mean, I think there's a really strong showing. I like these developer directs. It's cool to get a deep dive into these teams. I just think it's they got to be very careful what games they select for this kind of thing. Because last year they did Ara History Untold, I remember, and that game flopped as hard as possible when it came out. It just wasn't. So it's like I think this is a pretty solid lineup though this year. I don't think any of these games are gonna completely like crater. So yeah, I thought it was strong overall.
Yeah, these are the games that they needed like 3 years ago, in my opinion. Like a lot of people already sold their Xboxes and stuff like that, so that's why I'm hoping these games do come to PlayStation, because I don't want these studios to suffer because of Xbox's bad decision making.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think it's out of necessity, dude. They're gonna have to come to PlayStation.
Yeah. One game I am kind of disappointed that I didn't see was Perfect Dark. I really wanted to see more information on that. And Fable. Yeah, you're right.
Fable's
And
supposed to
Fable.
come
So
out this year, dude. Like,
we don't have
we
anything
don't
on
know
Fable.
anything about this game, really. It's like, yeah, Fable's supposed to be coming out this year. So I don't know if I buy it. I think that game might get pushed, but we'll see. But yeah, I know I'm with you. Perfect Dark's in the same boat. The game's still alive. We know that. Obviously, that last trailer was pretty cool. But yeah, we haven't heard anything since then. So they definitely need to give us more information about it as well. So, but this seems if all these games do come out this year, this could be a pretty strong year for Xbox first party, for sure. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's move on. I referenced it a couple times. Our next story, which is kind of a not a leak necessarily, but some comments from a couple of Xbox reporters, Nate the Hate, and then this was corroborated by Jez Corden on Windows Central, that there are a bunch of games coming to PlayStation this year. And one of those, the big one, being the Halo, the Master Chief Collection, then Microsoft Flight Simulator, and then Jez Corden added a few more as well. I'm trying to find where he's mentioned those. Oh, Hellblade 2, Age of Mythology, and potentially Gears of War 1 Ultimate Edition, all coming to PlayStation 5 this year potentially. So yeah, I mean the floodgates are opening. It sounds like it, dude. If Halo and Gears are coming, I mean it's over, dude. Everything. That's kind of my point. I think if this is true, if these games actually do come out this year, like it's over, dude. Everything's coming to PlayStation from Xbox going forward. It's just a matter of when, you know.
So do you think Xbox is going to transition into being a third party?
I think they're already doing it. We're already in that phase. It's just they're slow playing it, right? They don't want to get out of hardware completely. I think they're going to continue to do that until it fizzles out to the point where it's just not even worth doing anymore. But that might take 10 years, potentially.
Yeah,
so
that's true. That's true.
so we'll see them around, but I think they're already in the phase where they look at themselves more as a third party publisher than anything else. I mean, dude, Halo coming to PlayStation 5, I mean, that's the end, right? It's
Yeah.
and Nintendo, it's like, I mean, once you do that, there's nothing else. There is nothing more sacred in Xbox's catalog than Halo.
Yeah.
So once you do that, there's no reason not to do everything else. So we'll just see.
I just think they played this generation like really bad, man.
Yeah.
They have a chance to kind of redeem themselves. I mean, yeah, you can still say that 2013 was being held over their heads, but I think people gave them a fair chance this year, in my opinion. They just didn't deliver.
They couldn't bring the games, dude. Like we're talking about this year being strong for them. We've been talking about that for like 3 or 4 years in a row, and it's never come to fruition.
Yeah.
It's literally like I feel like every year we end of the year and Xbox was a disappointment. Their releases were a disappointment. It's like, because they didn't mention Avowed today, but that's also coming next month as well. So that's kind of like they have a lot of games on the docket this year. It's just for whatever reason, it's their development pipeline with these studios has been really poor. Like, they're taking 6-7 years to make a game, with every one of these studios is doing that. And when that's the case, it's just like you have nothing to give your players, and when your biggest franchises are flopping, like Halo Infinite, for instance, it's like, I mean, even the big stuff that are supposed to be the heavy hitters aren't hitting, so players just over time they leave, or they're not buying the new console. They're not excited about it. So it's like, they kind of did it to themselves. I think Phil took his best shot at turning things around, but it didn't work. Between the games not coming fast enough and strong enough and Game Pass, I think they've eroded their own hardware over the last 5 years pretty much. And it is what it is. It's where we are. I think if they want to continue to be in games, it's like they have no choice. They have to become a third party publisher. Otherwise they're just not going to be viable,
Yeah, I agree.
So
I definitely agree.
Yeah, but dude, the day they actually announce this, are you ready for the shitstorm that's gonna happen?
Yes. Well, I mean, I'm not. I think I'm thankful that I already made my transition off of Twitter, so I don't even be on Twitter anymore like that. All the news I get from y'all is either like on Blue Sky, because the people post on Twitter and Blue Sky, or I just like my Google feed gives it to me now. But I will say I feel like right now, as of right now, Blue Sky isn't as toxic as Twitter. So
Yeah.
uh, I am glad I'm going to be missing all of that shit. I am not interested in none of that shit because I
Yeah.
know the console wars are going to flame back up with Sony fanboys saying, "We won, we won." Whereas all as I'm thinking is, like, yeah, Sony fans won, but at what cost? Like, now we're not going to have that third party or that third
Yeah.
entity to check Sony. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
going to be up to Nintendo.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I mean, they're not even in the same space. So,
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
I don't, and plus, dude, I don't think these, I don't know why people are so invested in a fucking plastic box. Like, I don't really understand that very much, but, it just, I want good games, period. I don't care where they come from. That's
Yeah.
kind of the reality of it for me. And, it just so happens that they come from Sony and more of their, stable of like third parties that do exclusives for them. But I you know, good game's a good game. Doesn't matter where it comes from. So is what it is. But yeah, it's a lot of big hitters for Xbox coming to PlayStation potentially. That will be a fun day for Phil, I'm sure, when when they actually make that announcement. So I'm gonna be curious how they announce it too. Is it going to be a blog post, or are they actually going to try to like market it like it's part of like one of these video presentations? um that will be very telling in what they think the reaction is going to be to it, so we'll see. But I think Halo, I think the Master Chief Collection is going to sell like crazy on PlayStation though, for sure. I will probably buy it. Like, dude, just booting the game up on a PlayStation is an insane thing. Like, that is something you almost never thought would ever happen. It's like, so
I know one person would be happy is my uncle. I bought him I got him that PS5, and I finally got it sent to him and everything. He was setting it up. He was like, "Hey, what's that one game you used to play when you were younger? We used to always play it." I was
yeah,
like, "Halo." He's like,
yeah,
"Yeah, can I buy that?" I'm like, "Oh, that's only on Xbox." Now it's dream come true. It's gonna be. It's gonna be
yeah,
on.
yeah. You should have told him not yet, but it's coming.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to our next story. This one, okay, so this one was interesting. So the FTC has fined HoYoverse $20 million over their gotcha system, and the way that um they market the games to children. So they basically are getting fined because of the gotcha, like, quote unquote loot box mechanics being marketed to children, and the way that the pricing is shown on these platforms, which is not shown through as like a dollar value, but obfuscated through their currency, basically in the game, is the issue. So they're paying the fine, and they're actually going to be making changes. They said they're going to introduce more parental controls, but also be more transparent about pricing in the game, is what they said. So this is interesting in two directions. The first one for me is the way this affects other gotcha games. I would expect other companies to follow suit with whatever HoYoverse decides to change, because they're kind of the market leader. And if they're getting fined, you don't want to be next up in line, to get fined also. So I would kind of assume a lot of these games follow suit. I'm going to try to see if I can find whenever these changes do go into effect, like what they look like exactly, because I'm personally very curious as somebody who plays these games. But so there's that element of it, but the other element of it is the fact that this was focused on non-American games. To me, is like, why is it that EA and 2K get away with this shit, and like Riot gets away with this, and Valve gets away with this, but then you're gonna go after HoYoverse and the gotcha games?
I think it's because, I mean, you know why. I mean,
Yeah,
you know why. I really need to say it, but I did also hear that TikTok ban that happened recently, right?
yeah,
Um, they brought it back, obviously, but they're looking into like blocking ByteDance, and ByteDance owns Tencent. I believe.
Yeah.
Am I not correct about that? So
Let me look.
yeah, I think.
Um, no, they don't. They're different.
Okay.
They're different.
Okay.
Tencent's huge, dude. I don't think anybody owns them. They're
Okay.
they're their own entity. Yeah, they're publicly traded actually, Tencent.
Okay.
So
Um. So yeah, there was some talks about banning ByteDance, and if they did that, then somehow the ban, the way it was worded, was going to ban Tencent as well, and Tencent games will be banned over here. And I mean, Tencent owns like stakes in a lot of different games over here, so like League of Legends can potentially get banned and everything like that. So
don't they
I did hear
own like
about
a part
that.
of Epic too?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
uh,
That would not happen. That one I don't think would fly. But they did. They did. We didn't talk about this, but they labeled Tencent as a military like a military corporation in China, which they're trying to dispute right now. So they get classified differently because of that. And yeah, I don't necessarily think it's true that I would label them as that, but it is funny that these big Chinese firms are definitely on the U.S. government's radar for sure. No question about that. But um, yeah, I don't know. Like I don't have a problem with the FTC taking a shot at this. This is good. This is a good thing. Like don't get me wrong there, right? This kind of stuff like transparency about pricing and everything like that. All these like little tactics that these games try to fucking pull to get people to like not know how much money necessarily they're spending, or forget about how much money they're spending. They're all bullshit, right? But I think at the same time, though, be fair. Like, let's go after EA, let's go after 2K, let's go after fucking Riot and Valve with Dota and stuff, because these games are just as predatory, in my opinion. And they're just allowed to do whatever the fuck they want, So it's like we're being biased towards towards U.S. companies, protecting them, but foreign ones are gonna get hit with this stuff. It's like that doesn't make sense. Like but at the same time, I will say this is positive progress, for sure. Especially the children's stuff. I think that's the biggest issue with these games that I have is just how easy it is for kids to fall into a gambling mindset with games like this. So
yeah, no, I agree. I'm glad someone's going after him. That it needs to happen, in my opinion, like you said. Uh, but I don't know how aggressive they're actually going to go after these people.
yeah,
So we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. Uh,
yep,
I'm glad it's finally happening though, or
yep,
glad something's finally happening.
yep. All right, let's move on. So a new game was announced. I didn't see this until after we recorded last week, but The Blood of Dawnwalker released a cinematic and gameplay teaser, and this is from what's the studio called? Rebel Wolves. And these are a bunch of former CD Projekt developers. So a lot of them worked on The Witcher 3. This is a new RPG that they are working on. And Montreal, did you watch this trailer?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
I
this
thought,
game also looks sick, doesn't it?
yeah,
um,
I thought it was really the concept is really cool.
yeah,
And everything like that. So I don't know. It's gonna be. It looks like it's more of a vampire. I actually am shocked at how lack of good vampire games are out there. I think the
yeah,
last good one I really had was maybe Blood Rain. Like that's the last
yeah,
franchise I knew that actually like tried the vampire thing.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, Castlevania is the big one, right? But like
yeah,
Konami's just
yeah.
abandoned
Castlevania. They
Castlevania
abandoned
in
it
the
though.
last
Yeah.
decade, so it's like, yeah, we don't have that. And then obviously there's like goofy shit like Vampire Survivors, but I don't really count that, in what you're talking about. But yeah, no, dude, this trailer looks really cool. This has definitely got that like Transylvanian, medieval time period that kind of seems to be the setting, but um it just, I don't know, it's very strong, the cinematography and just like the kind of the narrative there looks like they're trying to build here. And I am personally very excited about this. So I don't think it's coming this year. It probably looks like a next year game, but yeah, at the same time, it's cool. Like, I think the last couple of weeks, a lot of these games that we're getting into that we've been talking about, it's just like the thing I'm excited about most is just how different this stuff looks. You know, it's just
Yes, yes.
it's not derivative of a lot of games we've already seen, you know, in recent years. You know, they're like, these studios are trying to do their own thing, which I think is really exciting.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, yeah, I think people are I think I don't know. I just feel like we talked about it before, but I feel like there's a new golden age coming of gaming, and
Yeah,
we had to get through this like extreme exorbitant amount of money, and then we had to go through this really really rough patch of like games dying and studios, getting slashed and everything. And it was just a really dark time for gaming over the last 2 years, in my opinion,
yeah,
because we were coming down off the balloon, off the peak of money as far as gaming, and now like everything's coming down. And I think a lot of studios are starting to realize that. And on top of that, a lot of studios are starting to break off and do their own thing, just become small because it is cheaper for smaller studios to make their own games and stuff like that. And I think
yeah,
it's in a really good time because a lot of people are hungry for new IPs and they're willing to try new things and stuff of that nature.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, which is, it's cool. And like, new IPs, unique ideas, different types of settings, different types of gameplay systems, you know.
Yeah,
And you know, I think it's kind of interesting. It makes you wonder, with like Ubisoft kind of falling apart, are we kind of, like you said, kind of heading into a new era of games, you know, maybe new franchises, new things that are popular, and these kind of things that have been dominating for the last 15 years fall away a little bit, because it doesn't seem like anybody's excited about Assassin's Creed Shadows, dude. Like, this game, I think, is definitely in trouble in some ways, and I think people just want something different, you know. I do think, like, as strong as this generation has been in some ways, I do think it's been a lot of just kind of the same stuff. We talked about this before recently, where it's just, there's not a lot of interesting concepts happening in a lot of the games that have come out. You know, it's just been kind of derivative, you know. Things we've already seen before, but prettier and better. You know, it's like, and that can only take you so far. Like, we still need to see innovation in the space. So,
yeah, I
um,
agree. I
yep,
think
go on.
I think now we're starting to see that innovation, or even if not innovation, um, just being familiar with everything.
Yeah,
Um, I
yeah,
think people want that back. Like, I mean, like, even like, look at the Expedition 33. It's like it's not really innovating anything. It's just kind of rehashing it and kind of not rehashing it, but bringing something that kind of died to be fresh again, if that makes any
yeah.
sense. Even though
But
I
even
would
though,
argue JRPGs never died, it's just
yeah,
bringing something kind of fresh to the. It's not trying to be groundbreaking, but it is just bringing something fresh to it.
yeah, I think the setting is somewhat innovative though, too.
Yeah,
At the
exactly.
same
Yeah,
time, you know, it's like, so there's some of that there, and I think this game too. Some of the stuff I saw afterwards, some of the reporting on it, is that it's gonna have like a day night cycle of some sort, and you have like 30 days to complete the game. Basically, is what it said. So that is an interesting concept as well. So there's some kind of, almost like, I'm not necessarily gonna it's not necessarily gonna be like Persona per se, but there is a time element to this game. Maybe more like Majora's Mask, actually. It's probably be a better
yeah,
comparison. So that's interesting as well. But yeah, this game looks sick. I'm very very excited about this one too. So all right, let's move on to our next story. And this one's about Sony. So, we talked about cancellations of games last week, and we have another one that looks like it might have been canceled. It is the Horizon MMO that NCSoft was working on. It's looking like that is no longer happening. NCSoft has taken a game that was codename H off of their roadmap, and it is believed to be that this was the Horizon MMO that they were working on for Sony. So if this is true, I mean, this is just another dent into this whole live service initiative that Sony was doing. And I don't know, man. Like this one was probably one of the more interesting ones for me of everything we've heard about up to this point. I think Horizon is the most ready to be a game like this, like as a franchise, right? A Horizon MMO, like that world has a lot of places we have not been to explore, a lot of different cultures they could create, environments they could create, enemies they could create, and stuff like that. And to hear that this is canceled is actually kind of disappointing. As much as I'm not a huge fan of NCSoft as a company, it's at the same time, there are some elements of like Ion that I fucking loved in that game, and that's one of their games. So they have the ability to make good games to some degree. It's just their management of said games has been suspect in the past, which so I kind of hope so with Sony involved that would stabilize things and maybe we get something potentially great out of this. But the fact that it's canceled, we're not getting it at all now. So which kind of sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I guess this goes to show like their whole initiative and the change of leadership and things of that nature, and where they're really shifting their focus towards. Which I'm really interested in what they are shifting their focus towards. Um, and it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. Like you said, though, even though I wasn't that much of a Horizon fan, I do think that it did have the potential to have the most impact or the most success as a uh, multiplayer game or a live
Yeah.
service game, and it would have been cool to see like you said other areas and things of that nature. But looks like the money is not speaking where the mouth is, unfortunately, right now. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, couldn't you imagine like, you have different starting areas, like you might start in, where Aloy's been in the games, or you might start in like Asia or Europe or something. Like, wouldn't that be fucking cool, man? And they all have their own like kind of cultures that have formed in the 1,000 years or whatever. Um and stuff like I just feel like there's a lot of potential there, for sure. And the combat certainly lends itself to that. I think the enemies, like there's I think that's the one thing I do think the game would struggle with a little bit actually, is that MMOs generally need to have a lot of enemy variety in them. And if the entire planet is just robots, like that's the only enemy you fight in the game, I do think that would be a little boring after a while. So maybe there's some stuff there that they were kind of hesitant about and stuff. So I don't know. It's just it sucks. It's like, but at this point, I mean, I don't even know what's left with Sony's live service initiative. I mean, there's like Fair Games, and then I don't even know what else we know about. Like they pretty much almost canceled everything else at this point. This is wild, dude. Like the amount of development time that's been wasted with this initiative in the last 5 years is crazy.
yeah, and I mean, this kind of goes to show you why. I don't know why everybody was pursuing it. I guess I understand it, but it was a waste of time in the end of the day, you know. So
Yeah,
it
dude. Like, think
sucks.
about how many single player games we could have gotten in this time frame.
Yeah,
It sucks, dude.
exactly.
It fucking
Yeah,
blows. It's like we had a whole Naughty Dog game canceled. That dude, we could have The Last of Us Part 3 like this year or something. So it's like it fucking blows, dude. We're not gonna get that game probably till 2030 now. And it's like that really is a huge error on Sony's part. So all right, let's move on. Another Sony story. Ted Price, who was the founder of Insomniac, he has stepped down, and he's retiring at age 52. And I don't know, I don't know how much there is to say about this necessarily. It's just this is a big blow, honestly. Ted Price is he's one of the OGs, man, in the industry, and he ran Insomniac pretty well. And I mean, their output is very impressive. And the speed of their output is very impressive. And they are replacing him with three different people basically are taking his role. They're splitting it into 3 parts. So
Whoa. Okay.
um, yeah, which is interesting. This seems to be something Sony favors right now is multiple leaders at high level positions. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, Montreal, what do you think about this? Do you think this is going to impact Insomniac in the long term?
Um. No, I feel like they still have extremely strong leadership. I don't think he. I think he was just the head of it, and he's been there for a while. But I think the
Yeah,
leadership is still gonna um. I think the culture and everything is still gonna be there. If that makes any sense.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I hope so because I mean they're such a good studio. I don't want to see them kind of lose who they are, but um, I guess we'll have to see it play out for sure. I mean, he earned a lot of money when he sold to Sony. I know the purchase price. We do talk about how if he had just waited another year or two, like dude, it would have been like insane.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, this dude is set for life. Like, I mean, $200 million or whatever he made, like, is you don't need more money than that. So I would be interested to see too. Like, I think he's young enough at 52. We could definitely see him come back in a couple of years, I think, and maybe start a new venture and do something different.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Yeah, it's just gonna be super interesting to see what happens with Insomniac. I don't think anything's gonna change because the guys that they took his position have been there forever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not gonna be like a huge difference if that makes any sense. So
Yeah. All right. Watch. Let's go on to our last story this week. EA has announced that they're closing EA Origin, their PC game client, and they are replacing it with another client, um, which is called the EA app. So this wouldn't be a huge deal. Like I wouldn't have put this in the news if there wasn't like some kind of pseudo controversy to this, which there is. Basically, the EA app doesn't work with old 32-bit Windows machines. So if you are on a machine that old and you're moving over, you're going to lose access to your games on Origin from Origin going over to the EA app. So, which that kind of sucks. 32-bit. I mean, at this point in time, if you're using a 32-bit machine, I mean, God, you are 10 years behind the times. Because from what like, dude, it's been so long since I worked with 32-bit machines, but I think the restriction was like you can only have 8 gigs of RAM or something like that. Like that was like the maximum that Windows could process at 32-bit. Isn't that right?
I think so.
Yeah, which is
That's
crazy. So, I mean, 8 gigs of RAM is fine, I think, for a lot of games. But if you're trying to play anything contemporary, like, good luck, dude. You're not getting away with that at this point in time. But at the same time, I do think it sucks for people. I don't know what EA would really do. I don't think you would just, you know, a lot of companies have left 32-bit behind. That's been happening for the last decade over time. But
yeah.
um at the same time, it is kind of shitty at the same time. So I don't know. What do you think?
Um, I don't know if your computer's still running 32 bits, then or still on a 32-bit system. I think it's just time for you to like upgrade, man. And it's not even that. It doesn't even cost that much. It's more cost effective to just upgrade than try to
Yeah.
salvage it. If that makes any sense. So
Yeah.
I'm not really too mad at EA for this. Um, I think it just makes sense. That's like I don't know. That's like being mad at the game company for not being compatible with Windows 7 anymore or Windows XP.
Or like
Like
not doing PS4 anymore, 5 years into
yeah,
the generation or something. It's like,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, we both work in technology, so I'm honestly almost like I almost sympathize with EA here. It's like people are trying to make this into a huge thing, and to me it's like, I mean, dude, they can't
Dude,
support this technology forever. It's like move on at a certain point.
dude, just even getting like I'm getting like so my system admin knows I'm trying to be a system admin, so he's giving me like light stuff to do and everything. And dude, just like just going from Windows 11 to Windows, or going from Windows 10 to 11, and giving people certain access and everything, and programs and compatibilities and drivers, it's like not even that bad. But I can only imagine like dealing with like something like this. Like it's a fucking nightmare, bro. So yeah, fuck y'all. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. Like it, it's so much better sometimes to just upgrade the system than try to fight it, in my opinion. And it's
yeah.
not like I understand it. Because I held on to Windows 7 forever. Like I was just like, I'm not giving up Windows 7. Um, and I held on to Windows 7 until Windows 10 came around. Till 10 came along,
Dude,
and then I moved.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. This is why I don't sympathize with people very much here, because I think PC people have done this a couple times. Like XP was the one they hung on to for a long time, and then they went to 7, and they hung on to 7 for a long time. But I was not like that. I went to Vista and I went to Windows 8 on my personal machine, both. And when I tell you, especially with Windows 8, the jump from Windows 10 or Windows 7 to Windows 8 was actually pretty significant from a performance standpoint. It ran significantly better than Windows 7. Windows 7 ran like fucking hot ass. Like it was by the time we were in the 2010s, like it was a piece of shit. I hated that fucking OS. And I know everybody's got rose tinted glasses about this, but I supported Windows 7, so trust me, I fucking know, okay? It ran like shit. Especially
No,
on
I mean, remember I got there and we were still migrating people
yeah.
to Windows 10. So I understand. Yeah, I definitely
and dude, that
Yeah.
jump was huge for people. Like it was such a massive performance jump. So yeah, I don't really sympathize with people with this. It's like, bro, if you're still using 32-bit at this point in time, like what are you fucking doing? Like just get on 64-bit. There's a very good possibility that your motherboard is compatible with 64-bit. All you need to do is get a fucking 64-bit key and reinstall Windows. That's it. It's not that hard. You might have to upgrade your hardware if it's not able to do 64-bit. So but it's like I don't know, man. It just frustrates me as somebody who's like seen this and been down this rabbit hole. It's like, what are you holding on to? Okay. If you're running on 32-bit, your computer runs like hot ass. Period. Like there's just like there's no other reality to it. It's like you will see a huge performance increase by moving over. So I don't know. So I don't necessarily blame EA either, but gamers are going to be gamers. Anything a company does that negatively impacts them, makes them evil. They're the worst people ever. It's like I mean, we don't even like EA on the show, okay? But I'm just saying, like, I don't think this is not a hill to die on. You know, they were going to make this move eventually. So
yeah, it's not. I don't think we should to die on this hill. Just let it go. Like
yeah.
it's so much better to just upgrade your systems, y'all. Like just fucking do it. I understand. Now what I'm against is soon as new technologies come out, upgrading to it. That's what I'm against. And I think both of us can agree like that can be very tough. So it took me a while. It took me like almost a year or two before I actually decided to upgrade my system to Windows 11.
Yeah, same.
I just wanted to make sure the drivers were there and everything of that nature. So I get that from that standpoint. But what I don't get is, just holding on to Windows 7 just to be holding on to it for the sake of holding on to it.
It's like 18 years old at this point.
Yeah, there are still people that have Windows 7, and they're like, "Oh, I'm never getting rid of it. It's just so good."
It's just like you are straight up like you are just wrong. Like literally, you know, it's like I don't know how else to say it, man. Like you're wrong.
So I will push back on Windows 8. I had 8 when it first came out, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing." I didn't like the tablet.
The interface sucked. I'm not saying the interface was good. What I'm saying is the performance was significantly better.
Yes,
yeah,
it was.
Like just doing things on your computer was way faster. It ran faster. It used your hardware better. It was more efficient with your resources. Like It's literally just true. That is just a fact. So and that's true with every OS iteration that Microsoft and Apple do with their OSs. Like any OS is like that. They get more efficient at using resources. Like that is the whole point of an OS. So it's like, so the longer you wait to move on, the more you're getting left behind. Because you're not taking those innovations on with your hardware. So I think, like, the idea that somebody buys a modern gaming PC and puts Windows 7 on it, like, you're a fucking idiot, dude. Like, straight up. Like, what are you doing? That makes no
Well,
sense. So,
yeah, and I understand people like, I don't want to be monitored by Microsoft and blah 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 blah. And it's like,
you are monitored by everything. Okay, if you have a cell phone, you're being monitored. Like, shut up.
yeah, that,
Like,
and it's not. I am the anti-type government type, but I also understand like there's monitoring.
You're not getting away from it though. You'd have to go live in a
But
fucking forest to get away from it. Like,
exactly, and I understand, but I understand there's certain types of monitoring. If you're not doing anything, like, this is going to sound stupid too. This is going to kind of go against my own like philosophy. My thing is like, I don't really care about certain things being monitored on my computer. I can block certain stuff. Like, I don't like the whole Windows, like, I think it's called Windows Review or something like that, where they literally hold snapshots of your thing and they process it, and you can actually block it in PowerShell. So I think it's called Windows Rewind or some dumb shit like that. So I actually blocked that, or whatever, because I think that's a huge security risk. But I don't know. Sometimes the people that are like doing really shady shit are the people that are like, oh, I don't want my privacy interfered. And I'm like, what are you doing on your computer, bro? Like, there's something crazy going on your computer.
Yeah.
Check, check your hard drives. But like, I don't know. Yeah, just to get back on the topic, I feel like, yeah, dude, like, you were still running on 32-bit. I don't even know anybody. I don't even know they make 32-bit systems anymore. Is there even a Windows 11?
Like, they no, they don't, dude. You haven't been able to get 32-bit Windows since, I want to say 7, literally. Like, I don't think you've been able to even have a 32-bit version of Windows. No, I don't. That might not be true. I think 8 did it, and I think 10 also did it. But I think 11, yeah, I don't think you can with 11. I think it's 64-bit only.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, y'all, let's move on. We're done with the news, but I did pick out some games for us to do guess the Metascore on. So,
there is a 32-bit version of Windows 10. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, so it's 10, so but right. 11 doesn't have it.
Yeah,
right?
11 doesn't have it.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. So yeah, let's guess the Metascore. I picked out 3 games coming out next month that we can guess, and we'll see how we do. So, first one I picked out was Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. This game is picking up some steam in terms of popularity. People are very excited about it. So I'm gonna guess first on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing what I know about this series and how people feel about it, like gamers feel about it, I'm gonna go 8.8. I think this game is gonna be received very highly.
I'm going 8.9.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, no, I think
I was thinking of going really high. Like, I was thinking 9.2.
I was gonna go 9.2. But
you might as well just cut me off though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just went 8.9, but I think it's going to be. I know this game is highly anticipated by. It has a really huge cult following, and yeah, I know this game's really anticipated. So yeah.
Okay. All right. And the next one's Avowed. I'm gonna go first on this one too. So this one's harder. I'm gonna do 8.3.
I'm gonna go lower. I'm gonna go 7.5.
7.5. Oops. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man. 7.5. Right. Fuck. Oh man. Do I want to do like?
Actually, I think I'm gonna go 7. I'm gonna change my 7. Yeah. So
Holy shit. Okay. No, I'm gonna lower it. I actually agree with you. I'm gonna do like 7.8.
okay.
I think, which is weird. I don't like. There's a part of me that sees a reality where this game is really well received, but I just don't feel like the buzz around it has been very positive the last few times they've shown it.
It may be a sleeper hit, but
Yeah.
I just people are. I haven't heard anyone say I'm super excited to play Avowed. So yeah.
Agreed. All right, and then the obvious one, Monster Hunter Wilds. I'm gonna let you go first on this one.
I'm gonna go 8.5 on this one.
8.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. I'm okay. I think everybody on the planet is a Monster Hunter fanboy right now. Like, I feel like Monster Hunter is more beloved than I've ever seen it. I'm going 9. I'm going really
Okay.
high. Or should I just cut you off? Should I just do 8.6? Is that the
Yeah.
strategy?
Just cut me
Yeah.
off. Just
Okay.
cut
I'm
me
gonna
off.
do 8.6. I guess I'll take the higher. I'll take the high road here, the high scores. I guess. And we'll see. I think people are very high on this franchise right now.
Yeah. I mean, Rise got 8.5 or user
Yeah, and
score
I don't think it's an
88.
8.5. We don't think it's an 8.5.
Yeah. And then Worlds. Oh, okay. Worlds did get a 90. Okay.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is the user score is 7.8. But the Metacritic,
Right, I
like
agree. But we're going off critic score with this. So that's what we're guessing.
critic score, they gave it a 90. So
yeah,
why I can see why it was getting a 9.5. I mean, if this was like more accessible to people, like critics love that shit. Oh, it's easier for me. Like, ooh, like, they love that shit. So
yeah,
I could definitely see it being, being the highest rated Monster Hunter game in existence.
that's what I'm thinking is gonna happen. Like I'm
You
thinking nine.
you
I'm
might
thinking
win
low
this one.
nines.
Yeah, you might win this one for sure.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. It's possible. You're right. They could have missed. It's possible, but we'll certainly see. All right, Montreal. That's all we got today. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we go?
Nope. That's it for me.
All right. Well, if you guys like this episode, please like the show, review the show, and subscribe to the show on whatever feed you're listening to it on. And please subscribe to us on YouTube. If you'd like to interact with either of us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrap for the Hokage for Montrell. That is the number 4, not the word. I'm at ThunderNut01, and the show is at the Player's Take. If you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter, or you can send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. And that will be it for us, guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We will see you next week. Bye.